Hi, everyone.
Hello,
Hello.
Hi, everybody.
Happy Thanksgiving to all my Canadian friends.
of which there are some.
Yes.
Thankfully, we celebrated yesterday.
For those who aren't aware, Kit is celebrating today, and we have a guest game master who's going to be running Metahumans Rising, a one shot for us.
Yes, we are doing uh, a spoopy Halloween episode because even though it is 90 degrees where I'm at, we are in October and it is time for spooky season.
Sounds like you're close to me. I live down in
Uh,
Florida.
no, 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 no. Other coast. All right,
West.
I'm in the San Francisco Bay Area.
Oh, nice.
California.
Yeah.
And my partner's from California.
All right. So
Now
yeah,
I've just got California girls in my head.
I wish
I can.
they all could be. Anyways, not a
We're not doing
sponsor.
that. It's spoopy season. It's not in the middle of summer.
Well, see, you just changed girls to ghouls.
Okay.
California ghouls. Nice.
Look, I've watched enough episodes of Elvira to know these easy ones, okay?
Gotcha.
All right. So why don't we just do a quick round of introductions, introduce your characters. I'll explain what Metahumans Rising is, and then we'll just go clockwise, I suppose. Although it looks like the Twitch stream clockwise and my clockwise are different clockwises, so I
You
I'm
just tell us
third
when to
either
talk.
way, so I'm okay.
but yeah, so Metahumans Rising is a superhero inspired RPG. It's kind of our love letter to comics and superheroes and all that good stuff. We've done a few collaborations with Fool's Moon in the past, um, and tonight we will be running an adventure called The Adventures of Spider Jack and the Cotton Candy Forest, Thrill Me Edition. And so we will hand it off here to well, okay, so we're going clockwise. If I'm going clockwise, it would be Zed here.
Oh, okay. I'm next to you on yours. All right. So my character's name is, as you can see on the screen, maybe it's Emily Jean Mabel Hatfield McCoy. She is a um, cross vampire werewolf cross. The Hatfields are werewolves and the McCoys are vampires. And so she's been around for close to 150 years, but she physically looks like she's 13. And this causes problems for her. She winds up having to spend a lot of time in school, but she's acclimatized to that because that's when she goes to sleep. She basically sits in the classroom and dozes off and answers every question on autopilot perfectly because she's heard every question 100 or more times before. Oh, and don't do anything bad around her school. She doesn't like that.
She will beat you up.
All right. So let us. Thank you, thank you. Let's head on over to Munchkin.
So I am playing Airless Howl, who is also known as Morgan, because I mean she's already got a weird name. She can take a common name as her pseudonym. People are gonna look for a Morgan. They're not gonna look for an Airless. And she is a witch. So she uses magic. She can talk to ghosts and get them to help her do stuff. She has a flying broomstick. She is just leaning into this aesthetic. She is also a little atypical in terms of her thought processes, um, to the point of having been the stereotype of the creepy child when she was young. But she is a thrill seeker, and the reason that she does superhero stuff is because it's fun.
There is nothing wrong with that. All right.
Cheers.
I believe this brings us over to now. I've only ever seen your name typed out. So is it Rizzo or Rezzo?
It's Reza.
Rezzo. Okay.
So tonight I'll be playing Lexington Lexi Oaks, aka Thunderlock. She is under the impression that her father was a superhero because the only information that she got was that from her mother that he was killed and he was very heroic. When she hit high school, someone showed up saying that he was a friend of her father's and that he was to mentor her, and gave her two pistols. Um, One is silver with a black handle with runes on it named Mjolnir, and the other one is black with that heat treated blue metallic titanium look, and it is called Mistletoe. And she is trained to follow in her father's footsteps to become a hero. And she does it because she thinks it's her duty.
Always good to have the legacy hero there. Also, if you don't mind me saying, I did picture Donald Sutherland as kind of that mentor character, although I think other people might picture Anthony Head. Um,
I have no idea who either of those people are.
it depends on which version of Buffy you grew up with.
I didn't grow up with Buffy.
Too young.
I'll go over here and be old now.
Yeah. Also, she's in college, a couple years of college.
Okay. I think that that may make you the well, maybe not elder member of the group, but eldest looking member of the group.
Well, she's also got a driver's license and a car, so but she does not
Airless
drive the
doesn't
mystery
need a
machine.
driver's license. She's got a flying broomstick.
You don't have a license for your broom?
No.
Shame
What
on
kind
you.
of
Issues
witch gets a
licenses
license
for
for her
brooms.
broom?
Flying without a license. You got to have a pilot's license. That's
It
going
is
to
a
be
small aircraft.
yeah. So you're going to get pulled over. Cops are like, I got to see your pilot's license. It's going to be a weird scene for you.
Just gonna have
Yeah,
All
as
Taryn
if they're
show
going
up.
to pull over the person on a broomstick 50 feet up in the air.
Scramble the choppers.
These newfangled cars, I don't trust them.
Damn horseless
Nothing
You
that
can
carriages.
probably
4 feet
run
can't solve.
faster than a car anyway.
Probably.
Oh no, this is a pretty sporty car. I
Uh,
did have a question. Are we starting knowing each other?
yeah. So while we didn't have a chance to do a team origin, which is usually the last part of character creation, where we all kind of sit down and we would narrate your first adventure as a team together. The assumption is you are all a functioning team. You do know each other, um, or or at the very least have worked together before. Does anyone have a
Yeah, more
preference
likely
there?
the latter. Because
I
unless
figure that Airless would have met Emily in school at some point because she's attracted to weird places. And the school that has a werepire doing every year over and over and nobody seems to notice, that's going to attract her attention.
I mean, for that matter, my
And
character probably went to
it
school with her
was you who
too.
pointed out earlier in preparation for this that Airless and Emily have a relationship kind of like Wednesday Addams and Enid, except that Emily is both the vampire and the werewolf.
I see no
Mainly
problems
because
with this.
Airless is just fascinated with Emily's existence.
I do like the idea that um, you went through school together with Lexi, then went through school together with Morgan.
yep,
Like, hey, don't I know you? Like freshman year, Alma mater high. You don't look like you've gotten
Probably
any.
middle school on account of the whole looking like a 13-year-old thing.
Yeah, so I meant to ask, perpetually in school, is it perpetually in middle school or perpetually in high school?
Perpetually in whatever school 13-year-olds go to.
Yeah, it might be different in Canada. I'm not sure.
Yeah, that,
Here it would be middle school or perhaps very late elementary school, depending
Yeah.
on when your birthday is
Depends
and
on
when the
what
cutoffs are.
because schools sometimes go from 1 to 6, or they sometimes go from 1 to 8, and some junior high schools go 7 to 9, and high schools go 10 to 12. But sometimes it's 9 to 12. Sometimes it's 6 or 7 to 12. It really depends on which school area you're in.
so
Yeah,
I'm
in
used to
our
high
city,
school.
it's 1 to 6, 7, 8, 9 to 10, or else 7 to, or not 9 to 10, 9 to 12, or else just 7 to 12.
Yeah, I'm used to the 9 to 12 also, and so that 13 age is like, okay, well, you could be like, tail into middle school or just the start of high school.
It might be one of those things where it's like 1 year she does the last year of middle school, the next year she does the first year of high school, and then she just repeats. Rinse
Just
and
rotate
repeat.
Yeah, I
between
mean, I'm
schools
figuring
within
that
high
every
school.
so often she does have to change schools, right? But
Yeah, so that makes sense. Like I swap between the middle schools and the high schools throughout the city. There's enough schools that it takes me about 20 years to get through them. No one
yeah.
notices.
Yes, exactly.
What city are we basing our game out of?
Oh, so for impromptu games like this, I like to use a place I call Central City.
Okay.
Uh,
Home of
Central
the
City
Flash.
is close to the mountains, close to the forest, close to the desert, has a large river that runs through it, and if we need to, it's close to the ocean, right? It's somewhere central.
Okay, works for me.
It's a very small nation.
Yeah.
Well,
Well,
I think it's
This is probably a result of the rain shadow off that ocean and mountain.
I think I base it
Happens.
off of Cincinnati.
that makes
Mhm.
sense.
Like jokes aside, right? Just kind of a middle America urban center.
Yeah.
If you based it a little bit more off of Cleveland, then the beach would make sense being off of Lake Erie.
Uh, yeah. It's one of those places where it's like you can get close to something, right?
Yeah.
Um, and then all right. Any other questions before we get started here?
Do we have a hangout or a hideout or a lair?
You tell me.
Under the school, in the garage,
Yeah.
somewhere.
So that's somebody's garage, the mystery machine.
Well, you do have the $50,000 car.
I
I'm,
do.
I'm assuming you actually do your own maintenance on it because you have the repair skill. So maybe you have and your college age. I think maybe your hangout is your place,
Okay.
or at least where you do your car maintenance.
Maybe my mother owns a mechanic shop, and we just use like the upper, abandoned office or whatever as our hangout.
Well, if you need me, you can find me at the school. That's the
Um,
easiest place to get a hold of me.
I'd give you my phone number, but I don't think you can use a cell phone.
What do you mean I can't use a cell phone? Of course I can use a cell phone. What do you think? Just because I talk like I'm from the 1800s doesn't mean that I don't know how to use technology.
Well,
I'm how self-aware she is.
got you downloaded that app that's got the little turn dial that's you put your finger on the screen and just rotate it around and it makes a sound for you.
No, I don't need such a thing, young whippersnapper.
Ah,
You just turn it on. You talk to the operator. You tell them who you're trying to reach.
Well, that would have worked a while ago, yeah. I think these days you still have to push a few buttons before you get there.
Just a few.
the operator's name was Sarah, always Sarah.
Okay. All right. So let's go ahead and we're going to jump in, and we're actually going to start this under the corn moon. So a month before Halloween, right? Um, and this is just a dream that Morgan has. Okay. There's a fracture in the sky which opens up to an inhuman looking eye. The pupil slowly rolls from one side to another before fixing its gaze on you. Like peeling back rotted flesh from a corpse. The eye opens, a single red-orange tear, almost like a droplet of candy corn, falling from a hole in reality. There's someone screaming, crying perhaps, as the tear engulfs you in an orange glow. There's a realization that the sound was coming from you. It lingers on your lips as you are jarred from your sleep.
Oh, this is gonna be fun.
That was a month ago. Oh, I should have said this before, right? Safety tools are in place. If at any point we need to pause or transition away, please direct message me. We can do that, right? I meant to talk about that off air, but we kind of we jumped in like right before stream, and it slipped my mind because we were covering some technical issues, right? So, and I definitely should have said that before the first scene. Right.
Oh, it's fine. Airless thinks that this is great.
Okay. So, a day before Halloween, there is a park in the city called Perez Park. And it has gotten a reputation amongst the kids as being the cotton candy forest. Perez Park is a larger park, think like Central Park or Riverside, if you know the New York area, right? But it is big enough that it would take hours to walk from one end to the other, and that's if you don't go through the forest in the middle. Okay. Well, forest might be generous, but it is a cluster of trees that has trails through it.
Too much cotton candy ain't good for you. I don't find I like it so much no more. Not since I was 13.
But it's gotten that reputation because, well, if you go far enough into it, you will see threads of pink cotton candy hanging from the trees. Kids like to play games, and there may be some shenanigans involved with that. But let me ask you a question. Halloween day. It's not night yet. It's too early to go trick-or-treating. It's too early to even really be going to any parties, right? It's not dark out, anything like that.
Well, they had something in my homeroom class this year. They usually do.
So what did you dress up for at school?
I dressed up as myself. We were all black, and I looked like Wednesday Addams, but that's kind of usual for me.
There's her Halloween costume all year round.
What was the line from the Addams Family? I'm a homicidal maniac. We look like everyone else. All right. And since we've established that you're in school together, I guess what would your Halloween costume have been at school today?
Honestly, Airless has unconventional fashion sense as well. She's not letting Halloween dictate what she's going to wear. She's dressed for Halloween all the year.
I can respect that. Okay. All right. And so let's jump over to Lexi. What are you doing through the course of Halloween Day?
Probably working on the car. I'm assuming that maybe I had like a morning class and it got out early. Um,
Okay.
Unless this is a Saturday.
I believe it's a Tuesday.
It's a Tuesday. So then, yeah, she probably had early morning classes, got out, immediately started working on her car, tuning it up.
Okay. What are they in college for?
Social justice.
Okay. So maybe like an ethics class or a law class.
Yeah.
Politics, philosophy.
And she's looking to either go into law enforcement or some form of uh, government official service.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So, uh, being a college class, you did not have to dress up. Um, being a college student, I'm sure you know of all the good parties that are happening in multiple hours. Um, but it is probably um around 5 o'clock news hour is when the stories start coming in about what's happening at Perez Park. Um, where it's a child has gone missing, and the child that was with them and did not go missing is reporting seeing a spider-like creature in the forest that uh, uh, picked them up and absconded deeper into the woods.
Okay.
Well, by this point, school's let out.
Yeah, this is
So
the
you
5 o'clock.
Yeah.
Right. So we're not quite at dusk yet. It's early evening.
It looks like somebody's getting their trick or treating in early and the treats for the kids. I'm gonna shoot a text message to the other two and be like, "Hey, I'm gonna head over to Perez Park and check this out."
Meet you there.
Oh, okay. I don't got anything better to do. Oh, wait a minute.
Want to ride?
What? Wolves don't ride brooms, dearie.
I'm just gonna get in my
You
car
could
and
if you
drive while
want.
they're having this conversation over the text messages.
I just gotta worry because I got something else going on. My family's they've always got things going on Halloween, and I just don't know which of them is going to drop by and want me to do something. So I just got to keep an eye out for that.
Well,
But I'll meet you there.
all right.
Okay. So the three of you, and so just to be clear, if I caught that correctly, your method of crosstown travel is not, say, public transit, but rather turn into a wolf and run the streets.
Well, I'll stick to the river valley. I'm sure it won't be a problem.
Okay.
I'll just stop by her house and like honk the
Airless
horn.
is just riding her broom in broad daylight.
It's like, hey,
I
you
mean,
want to
we
ride?
are in a spandex reality. That they're more okay with, like, well, they're not bothering anybody,
No.
and also people don't really look up.
Nobody ever looks up.
I'll stick to the green spaces. It's not a problem.
All right.
When I arrive at the park, I'm gonna, hop out, open the trunk, strap on some extra ammunition.
Okay.
Just so you know, we're in the city we're in. There are a lot of green spaces, so a wolf actually could cross the city if they were intelligent enough to pick a good route and wanted to do so.
Are you saying that about like where you live personally, or are you saying
Yes.
like Central City is like this now?
No, well, I'm saying that's how it would be in Ottawa. You
Oh,
could, in
okay.
theory, do that in Ottawa.
I
I don't
mean,
know
a
about
coyote
Central City.
ran past me like 10 feet away last winter while I was sitting in a bus stop.
Yeah, there's a little bit of space like that down here, but most of it is like city streets
Yeah, I
and
mean, you can't
buildings.
just do that anywhere in the city, right? You'd have to know where the green spaces are in order to be able to do that.
But Emily's also been here for over a century, so
Yeah, I'm sure she's got ways of figuring her way around.
depending on how civically minded she is, she may have encouraged the preservation of some of these green spaces. Like, we can have a small garden.
Well, probably not so much her as her family, because if there's anyone that's politically connected, it's going to be older members of her family. But
Right. The you know, even if it is influencing family members, right? It is the ensuring that you can get around and save some of the trees. Like, I like that tree. That is my tree. I don't want that to go away.
I like those parks. We should have more parks.
Okay. So speaking of the park, right? The way Perez Park is set up, you have essentially like a short stone retaining wall and entrances into the park from there, right? From the city streets. Okay. But you can see that there are police who are setting up barricades down by the forest itself. Just the wooden beam kind of structures that are easier to transport. And it looks like there's a truck that's bringing in like a temporary fence to encourage people not to go into the forest, right? Now, as you are gearing up here, Lexi, let us assume your compatriots arrive around this period. And how do we want to approach things here?
Well, now that I'm at park, I suppose I should change back to being Emily. And I'm just starting looking around, see what I see. I ain't so good at searching for, evidence and stuff like that, but sometimes things just kind of happen around me. And I might notice something that seems a little odd.
So, one thing I would say here is, the scope of the park. It is miles in size, right? And you're kind of on the streets, unless you're saying that you're going to just go ahead and like head straight in, right? Like you're heading.
Well,
into
I'm going to meet the others first.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So really, the only thing that you're going to notice out here is people who want to see what's happening. You have your rubbernecker type, disaster tourists. Like, ooh, something bad happened here. What can I see?
Looky loose.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
Well, we
And
can.
if there's any children among them that ain't with their parents, I'll make sure they stays away.
Yeah. So that's actually a good point, right? Like the police are busy trying to put up notices around the trails into the forest, right? And so you do see, and what are we defining as kids by your definition here?
Under the age majority, of course.
Okay. So yeah, there's probably some teenagers. that are unaccompanied, but like younger kids are not, right? Um, or if they are, parents are like, nope, nope, we're not stopping here, that sort of thing. But yeah, you probably see some like high school aged.
As long as they ain't going in, I don't have any beef with them.
Yeah.
But if they is trying to get in there, this ain't the place and time to do so.
Okay.
I'm going to look around to see if there's like any sign of like the witness. Like, do the cops have somebody like off to the side? Are they continuing to question? And where are the news reporters positioned?
So the kid went missing yesterday, so there's no like witness on the scene.
Ah,
It's just that because of the fantastic nature of the story, it took like a day to really process,
okay.
right? Because when little kids talk about giant spiders, little kids tend to get ignored, right?
Sure, but now the kid's been missing for 24 hours, and now the authorities are taking an interest in the case.
Right.
Okay.
So there's not like a strong media presence here yet, right? Like there's probably like a news van that's pulling up, maybe at around the same time. They haven't set up yet, right? Like, okay, well, this is going to be a story on the 8 o'clock news when it's dark and much more appropriate for Halloween, right?
Mm.
Like, okay, how do I leverage this properly?
Okay.
You kind of caught it when the story was breaking. If that makes sense.
Are we known
Like the talent isn't
superheroes?
even. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Are we known
No.
superheroes, or are we
Uh-uh.
still operating in the shadows?
I ain't known as a superhero. What would they do coming around my school? Disrupting all the kids in their classes just to talk to me? No, I don't think so.
I mean, Lexi has an alias already thought out, so
Yeah, so
I operate kind of as a not really hidden, but not really paid attention to kind of person. I mean, who's going to believe a 13-year-old girl is a superhero anyway?
I mean, they don't even believe a 13-year-old about giant spiders, like much less of being a superhero.
true enough.
I think Morgan, on the other hand, is a little bit more obvious in their shenanigans, as they
Yes, she
clearly
does
fly
not care who
around
sees
on a
her.
magic broom.
She does not care who sees her. But she's got a weird enough real name and a normal enough pseudonym that people think she's just using her real name. And then they can't find her. It is hilarious.
So I noticed in the picture there, you have purple hair, and I wonder, is that actually her hair, or does she do the Batgirl thing? It was like she's actually blonde, but she puts on a red wig for when she's a Batgirl.
Probably just hexes it purple.
Yeah.
Got the
Like,
whole magical girl transformation. It just changes her hair, and that's it.
well, I mean,
It's like Clark Kent's
changes her
glasses.
outfit.
Takes off hoodie.
I mean, do you think she gets around actually wearing a witch's hat every day?
Sure.
She's got a
You
weird
said
enough
she
fashion sense,
goes
but
around
that would
dressed
be
like that all the time.
noticed.
She's not wearing a Halloween costume. She's dressed like this all normally.
She's just a creepy goth
You
chick.
mean
that walks
just
Yeah, but
around.
without
there's
the
a
hat?
dress code at the school, and hats aren't allowed.
Okay, so it's just the hat. Gotcha.
She puts the hat on, the hair changes color. She's all set.
Hat of disguise.
All right. Yeah. So yeah. You'd asked about the police. I'm sorry. You asked about the media, and like I said, the crew is there. Like the on air personality isn't even here yet, right? because they're just like, okay, we'll got to block out space. You know, they're doing all the logistical parts of it for a later news broadcast.
Okay. In that case, I say we go into the forest and start looking around.
All right. Well, you will have to, you know, since you're not all known superheroes, someone's going to have to explain to the cops why you are trying to bring a 13-year-old child into the forest that they are currently cordoning
Oh, well,
off.
that's an easy one, dearie. I just leave and go change back into wolf and go in the forest through the forest. I'll meet you on the other side, all right?
Okay, I can get the other two of us in though. I head over to the police and I'm like, I'm here from the volunteer search party.
Morgan looks at this and just hops on her broom and flies over while they're distracted with you.
All right. So
Nobody's gonna notice. People don't look at her.
Or look up.
Gaze just glazes right over.
that's ultimately the thing. Like, no one looks up, and therefore she slides right on it. All right. So give me a. This will be a first roll of the game.
All right.
You're gonna roll your expression, and then do you have the etiquette talent?
I do not.
Okay.
Expression.
So when you're rolling only an attribute, you roll the attribute and 2 dice.
So I would put 5 plus 2d6.
2d6.
Okay.
Yes. And then you're rolling as a target number, but the other thing that I will say is that if you roll sixes, those are kind of like mini crits.
Okay.
Okay. So you got a total of 9.
I'll bat my eyelashes.
So the officer like looks you up and down, clearly sees that while you're not wearing spandex, you're part of the spandex crowd.
Hmm.
Yeah,
I'm wearing like a set of. It almost looks like army fatigues, but without the camouflage.
So see, army fatigues without the camouflage. So like BDUs,
Yeah.
right? Like okay. Okay.
Kind of like what's pictured.
What's pictured?
Like.
Yes. Okay. Okay. Yeah. So the officer that addresses you will give you a warning that it's not just the one kid. No one who's gone in has come back out. Right in the last day, they haven't released that to the news yet.
All right.
Uh,
Well, that's distressing.
Now they will let you in. But they say, look, we're putting up barricades now, and our focus is on keeping anyone else out. Right. We wish you luck. You know.
Just don't tow my
And
car
You don't
while I'm
come
in
back
there.
by tomorrow, we'll round up a SWAT team and start clearing the area.
Carpet bomb it.
yeah. Cut back to no one who's gone in has come back out.
Yeah. Yeah. Just don't tow my car if I'm not back in the next 12 hours.
The problem is he doesn't know if you're joking or not because you might have a smart car. This is just one of the issues with living in a spandexed reality.
Yeah. The car's like,
All right.
I will see you later, Lexi, and drives itself off.
These are things that happen. All
So
right.
I'll enter the woods and try to rendezvous with these two again.
Yeah.
I didn't
So
go too far. You probably find me pretty easy.
here's the thing that I'm going to tell Morgan here. When you fly in, you quickly realize that you have to drop down. Okay. Um uh like Perez Park is already overgrown. And the cotton candy that is strung between the trees actually makes a thick resin inside the trees on the upper levels, right? But because you have your broom and you're flying and just kind of high and not trying to come from like a top down, you dip below that and just kind of circle around to the trail where Lexi is going to be showing up.
Yeah, so you either fly way over the forest or you're flying under the tree branches.
Well, the way
Yeah.
I interpreted that was as if she's flying over them, she wouldn't be able to get into them. She wouldn't be able to
Right.
pass
Yeah.
through them because the resin would actually make a impenetrable barrier.
I mean, you can certainly try and penetrate it, but she has
May
the
not
broom,
be.
doesn't have to do that.
Yeah.
Is this cotton candy like floss? Is it been there all the time, or is this something that's new?
Uh, so give me a
History?
yeah, like let's do history and street smarts. So I think in your case it's just history and 2 dice.
Yep.
You could ask me. I'm pretty good at history.
I'm pretty good at history too. But I'll ask if I
So
really mess this up.
Well, this is a street smarts role. History is just like your personal background and
I love how
things
it's the exact same
know.
roll, but I got a 15.
Well, you got a 15 this time, so um, like this isn't really your neighborhood since you tend to be more around the college. Um, but you heard someone who has like a little brother talking about the cotton candy that people are like throwing in the trees this year.
Hmm.
Right? Like everyone thought it was kind of a joke, right? Like kids are throwing cotton candy up there, like, oh, be scared.
Hmm.
Because young kids do crazy things or weird things.
Okay. So people think that the kids are throwing it up there. What are the chances the kids are actually throwing cotton candy up there? Or is this just too much to be
based on
that?
what Airless can see, not very high.
Yeah.
It seems like there's
Well,
an awful lot of cotton candy on an awful highway into these trees for kids to be throwing it there.
so that I think the plausibility of that statement became progressively lower over the course of October.
Hmm.
But at the same time, once the rumors kicked off, it grows. This was like, well, every kid must be doing it, right? And so then you're like, oh, it maintains that air of plausibility. And since no one's trying to fly through the tree canopy, no one knew what was growing up there.
Hmm.
Because the hard candy shell is on the top, cotton candy below.
Okay.
No, I say, hard candy shell and cotton candy. I think all three of you are like, that's probably not actually cotton candy. Looks delicious though.
No. Actually, I'm putting two and two together here. They say that the kid was snatched by a spider monster, and we're seeing all this cotton candy like floss in the tree. Is it possible this is a type of spider webbing?
I
You
mean,
think?
possible. that is certainly within the realm of things that this could be. But again, you can see how this went from, oh, I guess I could see that, to, oh yeah, no, this is way worse.
Yeah.
This is way worse, especially if this is the kind of webbing that this creature creates.
Or has friends that help it create.
Millions of little, spiders are creating this, and one big one. Did I ever tell either of you two that I really hate spiders?
No, dear, you never mentioned that.
Yeah, they kind of give me the creeps.
Airless probably has a spider-shaped charm on her hat somewhere.
Yeah, that's not
Well,
helping.
they say fire is good for burning webs out, but you'd probably be killing all the trees too. I don't know if I'd care for that solution so much here right now. Plus, if there's any kids up in there, well, the fire would do them too. I don't think that's a great idea.
Like I said, last resort we carpet bomb the place, but until we, can determine whether the kids are alive or not, let's not.
All right. So as you push further down the trails,
So have we reunited now?
Oh yeah.
yeah, I assume like because you're conversing, you were able to meet inside the forest proper.
Airless has stashed her broom inside the hammer space that exists inside her cloak.
Okay. It doesn't just like float behind her.
I mean, it could, but
Better than the thoughts that I just had.
So the thing that I want to point out is once you are in the forest proper, right? As I said, the forest itself is overgrown. And then once you're below that resin shell, the lighting goes from bad to worse. Okay. So unless anyone has any ability to like see in pitch darkness, that may be a problem unless you want to come up with some way to illuminate the pathway.
Airless can probably just conjure a ball of witch fire and hold it in her hand. I presume that it would shed light, since it is magic fire.
I was thinking tactical flashlights attached to the bottom of one of her guns.
I was thinking I can see pretty damn good in the dark since I'm aware here. But maybe Jeb over there has a solution or wants something from me. What, Jeb? What are you doing in here? Jeb?
I don't think that's Jeb.
What does he want, Jeb?
So who is Jeb here?
Jeb is either a Hatfield or a McCoy, and he's come and he wants something from me.
You don't know which one he is.
Well,
don't see
I'm
who you're
giving the
talking
GM
about.
here a little bit of leeway to decide what he wants to do with this character I'm introducing, who's come here to cause me some kind of grief.
Yes. So if I remember correctly, McCoy is the maternal side. Is that correct?
Yes, in the McCoys of the vampires.
Yes. And since the name is you said Jeb?
Jeb.
Jeb. All right. Yes. So you see a curl of what you thought was just innocuous mist kind of solidify into a humanoid shape. And he walks out dressed in a black alapage suit. And he looks over your companions and says something to the effect of taking in an early dinner, sister.
An early dinner? No, it's not dinner time. Well, not today, no how. Maybe another time, perhaps.
Do we see this, or is Emily just talking to herself?
No, I'm talking to Jeb.
You see mist kind of floating in front of Emily and around Emily, and you can hear vibrations.
Airless can probably see this just fine. She can sense spirits and she can see magic too.
Oh, yes. So you can actually see that this is there is a presence here that is neither dead nor alive, somewhere in between. And
Has
uh,
Airless ever met Jeb before? Or
that's
know enough about him to infer that this is a McCoy?
that's between the two of you. Has she?
Probably not. Not. I mean, Emily's got a big family. You may have met some of her family, but this one specifically, hard to say.
So Airless will look at the mist and then look back at Emily and sort of like gently elbow her and be like, "One of yours?"
Well, of course, Stevie. Like I said, Jeb's here because
Jeb's
he
hand on
wants
your
something from me, but I don't know what it is.
you can feel Jeb's hand on your shoulder and arm when you elbow Emily.
Shake him off. Not at all perturbed.
And um, he says, remember, sister, tonight is the gathering. You must bring with you someone.
So you say. I ain't forgotten. I don't know that I'm necessarily decided who I'm going to bring or what for, but I'll bring someone, I'm sure.
Lexi doesn't see who they're talking to. She just reaches into her pocket, pulls out an MRE, opens it up, waiting, eating the MRE.
Yes.
I have no idea what that thing is that you are eating. I either didn't hear you correctly.
MRE, military ration.
Meals Ready Eat is what it stands for.
It's basically a power bar.
Pretty much.
It's far better than it used to be. But yes. So if it wasn't clear, you're bringing dinner home tonight.
Great. We'll stop at Publix on the way back, get some chicken. Let's
But more likely, what I would usually bring is a cow. But we'll see.
I mean,
whatever you want to call them, my sister.
Some people like to call them kind, but I usually go for either the ones that won't be missed because they ain't good for the people around here anyway, or maybe the kind that some farmer has lying around. They won't be missed. We'll see.
And so while we're going through this adventure tonight, you'll need to find somebody. You let me know when you find that person. And with that, he says, remember, sister, blood is thicker than water. And we will always be family.
Yes, yes. Maybe next time I'll bring James from the Hatfields over. We'll see how you like that.
I do like to live deliciously.
You keep an eye out for them because you try and prey on them, they won't take kindly to it.
Now, you can all hear the laughter as the mist kind of rolls past.
Pleasant guy, your brother.
Well, most of my family's kind of on the shady side. They've been out there in feud business for centuries. It really leeches a man's soul.
So, yes, you have a challenge in tonight's adventure, and if you find somebody, right, someone that you're willing to bring to your family.
Well, that side of my family.
Yeah, that's
The Hatfield side, they don't eat people so much, but you know, they still can get pretty violent.
Airless is always happy to help you clean the streets.
Now, I do want to bring back around the question of
So I should get some willpower for introducing that complication, right?
you'll get a willpower when you resolve it.
Ah, okay.
That's not to say that you show up at the party with you take out, but rather when you find someone that's going to be joining you one way or the other.
Right.
Someone's becoming a
And
McCoy
that's
tonight.
why sorry, what's that?
So somebody's becoming a McCoy tonight.
No, they're going to become dinner.
No, I get that.
You'd have, in order for them to become a McCoy, they would, well, in order to join the clan, they would have to first be drained and then be fed vampire blood.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
But they usually don't do that for people that are just going to be dinner, or that are just going to become ghouls, for that matter.
All right. So I do want to make sure that we've established that Morgan has created these kind of witchlight motes or orbs, like will-o-wisp type spheres. Is that what you were looking to do?
Yeah, sure, that works.
Okay.
And like I said, also Lexi has those underslung flashlights for her guns. She'll attach one and kick the light on.
Okay. All right. So typically the way this would work is normally you get one free use of your tools boon once per session, right?
Okay.
So we will resolve the lighting issue and call that the use of your tools. But while we have two different effects, we're only going to require the one expenditure, right?
Okay.
So whichever one of you wants to say I've used my tools to do this is fine.
I think the witch light's probably a better idea. It's probably going to give us all light.
Was the witch?
Technically speaking, that's not actually listed under my boons. I could spend a willpower for that. It's based off of one of my attack spells that I've just repurposed.
Yeah. So that what I'm counting out as the hidden weapon, right? That it just gives you a free power boon once per session.
Sure.
Right? So
I'll check that off then.
Yeah.
But
Now,
you can use a willpower to reuse that again. Anything that's a once per session is something that you can spend a willpower to use another time.
that's correct. So like
Yeah.
if later on you want to use your tracer, and for the record, vehicle only applies as a tool use if you use it in like an action scene, and like the mechanics of the vehicle apply. So like flying around on your broom casually, you can do that as much as you want, right? Using your
and
broom
each
to
tool
ram
gets
somebody.
checked off independently?
No, it's just the tools as a broad category.
Oh,
Right.
okay.
Yeah. But like as Zed said, spend willpower for extra uses. This was just the free use that you get. But that's going to prevent everyone from suffering a lighting penalty for the rest of the adventure. So very, very good and very wise application of tools here.
Okay.
Well, let's continue the search.
All right. So yeah, not far into the trails. As I mentioned, the trees are just overgrown with this cotton candy now. And then
Like I said, I may not be too bright at searching for evidence and stuff like that, but very often I find strange things happen near me.
Yeah.
That
The,
cause me to notice things.
what I will point out here is that what you're noticing is that the cotton candy seems to be growing on its own accord, almost like it's trying to reach the ground behind you or off to the sides.
How quickly is it growing?
Do you notice how quickly grass grows?
No.
Faster than that.
Okay.
It is like watching a time lapse of a plant growing, right? Like it is almost concerning in the fact that you can see it happening, and there's part of your brain that says this should not move that quickly, or like no natural growth should move like that.
Hmm.
If that makes sense.
Airless is going to set up a ward.
Okay. So this is your personal protection. You're activating those.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So I meant to ask you because during character creation, you had referenced magical transforming girls.
It was
Is
more just about the familiar,
okay.
not the transformation, but I figure I can bring some of those elements in.
Okay. So tell me about the familiar, by the way, because it's clearly been with you. We talked about a cat or possibly a ferret.
I'm
What?
thinking polecat, which is a relative of ferrets. It probably curls up around the band of her hat and is just chilling for the most part. But it is a very mischievous soul. Anyone that is not airless tries to touch it, it will try to take off their fingers.
Okay. So it's actually resting on the brim of the hat, like wrapped around it.
Yep, just
Excellent.
watching.
Excellent. Okay. Um, and then I think
If neither of you two have something that you have in mind to do, I could try something.
Go for it.
All right. This could get a little might messy. Let's just see what happens. So I'm going to switch to werepere form.
okay.
And I do note that certain powers of my kin are not necessarily the healthiest thing to be around for living things. So I'm going to go mosey on over to that growing cotton candy stuff. And my aura starts blackening the grass and the cotton candy and draining the energy out of it. Let's see what happens when that happens.
So are you attempting to let me I understand the description, but let me understand the mechanics of what you're trying to do here.
So I'm trying to drain its life away so that it can't do nothing.
But,
And
but
it
you're
eats
trying to do
through
it.
its magical energy.
Yeah.
Sort of like contacting acid.
Okay, but you are doing this at a range, not trying to.
No, I'm walking up to it.
Okay. All right. So yeah. This in fact would be like an acid meeting a base. Give me a intelligence plus survival roll if you could.
Sure.
Now, since because you actually have survival here, you get to add
I do.
a die.
Sure. This is also potentially provoked, but that's the same as survival. So that's, I think, 3d6. plus 13. Yes.
Let's see. Intelligence 4, survival is 9. Yeah, 13. So 23 and no 6s. Okay. Yeah, so it is as caustic as you are in some other way. And it gets onto, well, you're in werepire form. I guess it gets kind of like caught in your fur, wherever you touch it,
Mm-hmm.
and it burns, right? Um, now I will say this: you try to, um, you know, be as gentle as possible, but it seems to cling to you. Um, and as I said, it is like an acid burn here. Um, so that would be 12 damage minus your armor as it tries to essentially fuse to you.
All right.
So
Let me get back to my character here.
So in your tempered werepower form, you have 5 armor, which means you take 7.
Yep. So I take 7.
Yes.
I can get through this stuff, but it's trying to stick to me.
Is the portion that's trying to stick to her coming down in a tendril, or is it just a sheet?
So it is that's probably the best way to describe it. There's not just one tendril, it's just they're kind of just dripping down in different areas.
Okay. Will this be
So
something?
I back away from it for a moment and see if I've left a gap that others could go through, so that I could sort of act as a temporary shield if we needed to get through this stuff. And as I do, I start regenerating the damage that this thing has taken, that this thing has given to me. So it starts melting off of me as I back off of it. Eventually, it will clear away.
Yes, your regeneration will resolve this if you don't stay in contact with this.
Right.
But as I mentioned, this was just kind of like a first contact touch, and you're not able to safely clear a path.
I'd have to actually do something a little bit more like pick up a rock and use it as a shield kind of thing, or pick up a tree and smash a hole through it.
Every tree has some of the stuff in it.
Yeah, something like that. I could
Yeah,
probably knock over a tree and see if that clears a big enough gap in it.
yeah. So there's a logic to that. Like if you think of like, hey, I pulled a branch free that a spider web was on, and then I move it through the spider web goes away, right? Even though the spider web was on the branch, right? You're just doing this at the industrial level.
Yeah.
That could work for a temporary path. Is it blocking our path at any at this point yet?
Not yet, but depending on how long you're in the forest, it might.
Let's just try to make this search a little bit better, a little bit faster, and let's move on.
Yeah. Now, did I notice anything other than the trees dripping stuff on us when I took a look around?
Oh, it's not that the trees are dripping onto you. It's that it's like just kind of a growing aggressively around you, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. But no, nothing else seems to be all that strange. You think? Why don't you give me a sense and perception roll?
Okay.
Actually, everyone can do this.
I'd rather use fortune and perception, since they're the same for me. And since my look at things skill is kind of like I lucked into a clue, so I'm using fortune rather than
Okay.
sense, if you don't mind. Unless you want me to switch to wolf form, but I don't think I'm doing that while I'm still injured.
Yeah, no. Yeah, go ahead and use your fortune there.
Got a 28. It is 3d6 because I have the perception skill, yeah?
Correct. If you don't, it's just 2 dice.
Okay.
I have 26.
Okay, excellent. Okay. So the uh Lexi and Emily, uh what you're like, okay, so the cotton candy is growing as we get deeper into the forest. And then while you have the witch lights, um you start to notice kind of an orange glow along the path. Um and the orange glow, since you're being cautious, what you realize is that there are um maybe like 12 or 13 people. Well, I say people, right? Because they're people shaped and they wear people clothes, but um the their heads and their skin um are thicker, more like an orange or hide, um with ridges that run down it. um I'm not saying that they have pumpkins for heads. I'm saying if you had a head that looked like a pumpkin, if that distinction makes the difference to you.
Like your skin was made out of pumpkin.
Right.
Hmm.
And their eyes seem to glow an unnatural orange, but they're just standing there.
Do they have blood?
um I will tell you the answer is yes, but have you ever eaten something so sweet that it makes you sick?
Well, not since I was 6, and that's a long time ago, dearie.
I have.
So that's kind of what that smells like to you.
It's sickeningly sweet.
Yeah. And they seem to be covered in cotton candy, or their clothes have like cotton candy webbing on them. Um,
Any signs there's children near here?
uh,
These folks look like mighty strange,
Hmm.
but I ain't sure they's human.
so they are wearing people clothes. I will
Maybe
reiterate.
they was human. Maybe they ain't human no more.
That's
Or
definitely
maybe they's
possible.
cursed. I don't know much about magic, dearie. That's not my thing.
We both turn to Morgan.
Yeah, Morgan's gonna check these people out.
How close do you get to check them out?
Um, she'll probably be walking up to like maybe within 5 feet of them, presuming that they don't react. If they react, then she'll pause and figure out what to do based on that.
And I'm keeping an eye on this situation, ready to intervene if anything untoward starts to happen. I'll be in the way.
Okay, so when you get probably and you said 5 feet, right?
That's what I said, yeah.
Okay. All right. Yeah, so probably when you get to about like the 30-foot range or like 20 feet away, they will begin to move in unison.
Well, that's not
Uh,
creepy at all.
and their mouths open uh with a orange sludge that just rolls down as they begin to move towards you. Um, Now I'm going to give you the option to stay where you are or to back off and maintain a short distance from them. So let me know what you want to do now, and then I got
I'm
some.
also ready to act.
Airless will allow them to get closer, but if they get within, say, 10 feet of her, then she's going to start maintaining distance. Maybe get on her broom.
Okay, all right, yeah. So um, do you want to? I'll put it this way: do you want to let them get close, or do you want to stay at a short range from them?
Short range.
Okay, cool. All right. So I'm going to ask everyone now to go ahead and roll your initiatives. You'll find that on the last page of the character sheet at the top level.
Okay.
Initiative 24, 3 dice. 3 dice plus 24?
Yes.
Okay.
That is a lot of initiative.
Oh well, our teen, which is probably not the fastest to react, is
Okay, 35.
okay.
31.
And I also need Morgan as well. Or
I
then
rolled.
oh you got the 13. I got you. Okay. All right. And doesn't look like anyone rolling sixes. Cool. So here is how initiative traditionally works. Most people are used to it going from slowest or going from fastest to slowest. Because we live in a spandex reality, we actually go from slowest to fastest. And the reason why is because that means the slowest person tells you what they're going to do. They'll make their roll for it. You have the option to try and interrupt that from happening. Right. So this allows for situations where it's like, oh, I have a hostage and I'm going to shoot, right? And the hero goes, no, and I'm going to, deflect the bullet or, whatever it is, right? Because they have the higher initiative, they can actually interrupt that action.
Okay.
I say all of that to follow with a statement of Morgan, you are the first to act. It looks like if they get close enough to you, they will begin spitting this bile or trying to engage you with their now gnarled and clawed hands.
Okay, then. In that case, Airless will indeed get up on her broom and get out of their range, and she's going to get ready to start flinging fireballs.
Okay. All right. So yeah. It will take you one action to move because you have your vehicle, which essentially makes you faster, right? That is a use of your tools though if you're going to engage the broom. Okay. But
Yep.
you're going to get the broom for the entire scene. Okay.
So I have
Uh,
spent a willpower.
okay, perfect. But yes, note that essentially you can move 2 range increments on a single action because of your broom. Right, your broom is fast, as small, as mobile. Okay. Um, it is not an assault broom. It does not have guns on it or anything crazy like that.
You know,
But
I'm
You are
just
the
gonna be
guns.
sitting on it, conjuring fire, and raining it down.
okay,
The broom is gonna be stationary when I attack.
okay, and I'm going to ask now. So you're so I listed it as witchfire, right? And I listed that just for like a flavorful statement. Do you want this to be actual fire? All right.
Let's say it acts like fire, but only when I want it to. So it'll burn the things I want it to and then peter out when it's done with its very specific fuel.
Uh, to be clear, when I say do you want it to be fire, I'm not trying to set you up to set the forest on fire, right?
Yes, it is fire.
Not
Okay.
unless you
It
want to
is
set the
weirdly
forest on fire.
colored fire, but it is fire.
Yeah. Yeah. Not unless that is actually your intent, and you say, "I'm going to set this tree on fire," and then I'm perfectly fine with you doing that. I wanted to clarify it's an eldritch bolt that looks like flame, but it's not really flame. No, this is fire. It may have a different appearance, right? Like it may, it's a black flame or something to that effect, but it is fire, right? Okay. So for your second attack or for your second action, because you get 2 attacks or 2 actions in a turn, you can go ahead and make your attack. So you'll roll your witchfire, which is 24 and 3 dice, right? So you'll see
Yeah.
that. I'll highlight on your character. Woof, bah, woof. Right. Okay.
36.
Perfect. And it looks like you rolled a 6 as well.
Which
And
is good.
so this is where I'll point out that 6s act almost like little mini crits along the way, right? For every 6 that you roll on an attack roll, you actually get 2 extra damage, right? Damage is actually is a fixed number, and then if you get 6s,
Mm-hmm.
plus 2 each 6 you get, right?
Okay,
So
so base damage is 10, so 1 6 would make it 12.
yes. And all right. So they seem particularly flammable. And you start sending out like bolts of fire. Now, the other thing I should qualify, I said there was like 12 or 13 of them, right? I'm not going to be rolling for 13 different NPCs here, right? They act as a single group, not just in the narrative where they're moving in lockstep, which is its own oddity, right? But they just have kind of a single stat block, right? And you're interacting with the larger mob, right? So when you make your attack, it's not like I throw one bolt of fire at one guy. You're tossing out bolts of fire here and there, right? And like 3 of them kind of fall to the ground, stop, dropping, and rolling. Well, stopping and dropping. And then you stayed at short range, and so the ones that are still standing will attempt to spit at you. That pumpkin spiced bile.
Okay, I have an interception that I can do here.
So describe that to me.
So since I'm in werepure form already, I will dig my claws into the earth as I charge them and throw up a huge wall of loose dirt at them to catch their bile and act as a shield for myself as I charge into them.
Okay. So it sounds like you're trying to do a couple of things all in one action, right? Now you can do that.
Basically, I'm trying to use my scavenging, which is my secondary defense. I'm trying to invoke that as I charge into them and block their attack from attacking the witch.
All right. So the things that you're trying to do, you're trying to close ranks, right?
Mm-hmm.
You've got to intercede to take that hit, right? And then create that barrier, right? So it's movement and a defense roll. Okay.
Sure.
So essentially, what you're going to do is you're going to roll your normal defense. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Which I should point out, typically, unless you spend an action, you don't roll your defense. It's just that static value, but you are spending an action to do something, right? And in your case, you're going to be rolling your tempered wear defense, which
Yeah.
is 36 and 4 dice. But
Mm-hmm.
because you're trying to do two things at once, which is close ranks and protect your ally, you are making a roll at a -20. Right.
Mm-hmm.
It's also probably a good moment to point out that you can spend a willpower to double your dice roll. You don't double the dice, but you just put a little asterisk 2 after it, and it will double whatever you roll. You don't have to do that, but
Well, I'm
that is
not injured yet, so, and I know my stamina will recover over time. So for this first round, I don't think I need to do that just yet.
the reason why I say that. What you're doing is so you're effectively going to take the damage for your teammate,
Yes.
right? But you still have to roll over their attack roll to do that, right?
Okay.
So I bring it up because you are taking a -20 in the act of protecting your teammate.
Mm-hmm.
I might be able to do it more efficiently.
Why is that?
I have a tear off some wall ability, which allows me to basically break a wall. I was wondering if I would be able to use that as a one-time shield, and basically knock a tree down in front of them.
So you knock a tree down in front of them. It's interesting the way you phrase that. Typically that's not the way the tear off some wall would work, but I would allow that to work this way. As kind of
Is
like
he going to have a better chance of success though? He still's got the -20 to do it.
yeah. It's just you have to you're still trying to close that rank to get the tree in front of them, right? So you're still gonna have that -20.
Uh, yeah, see, it just says because I'm super strong or other appropriate characters may not be leaping onto a wall, but instead tearing free a one-time shield from the nearby surface. So I'm wondering if I could like literally just reach over, grab a tree, rip it out by its roots, and toss it in front of Morgan, and basically put it between the two as a single action.
So I'd let you do that to create cover. That'd just be a brawn roll instead.
Okay, but does that have a better chance of succeeding than what Zed is doing?
Let's see. Your brawn roll would be a 32. You're still at the -20 because you're ripping and throwing on the same action, right?
Okay,
So it
So
sounds like not really.
not really. No.
you're
I'll go
rolling
ahead and
12
spend.
4 dice.
I'll go ahead and spend the willpower just to be sure.
All right. Well, you certainly do the thing because I rolled a 4. So I think you straight up doubled what I got.
Yeah.
But okay, so what that means is now you rolled a 6, so you get an extra point of armor when you take damage from this attack, right? But you will take 6 damage, and you find that the spit is like an adhesive that quickly solidifies, right? So you will have to spend an action to escape from this. But we will get to that once we're on your turn.
Okay.
Okay. So let's see who's next in the initiative order.
I believe that would be Lexi.
All right. So Lexi.
I believe I'd like to try to hit them all with the hail of bullets and lightning attack.
Okay.
Am I right in assuming that's 28? Am I reading that right?
Let me take a quick look here. All right. So hail of bullets and lightning. Yeah, that's 28 and 4 dice. And it is medium range, so you don't have to move at all. You are exactly where you want to be. Actually, because it's at medium range, go ahead and take a +5 to that.
+5. Okay.
Yep. As I mentioned, you are exactly where you want to be.
Just gonna add a +5 at the end of the text. That should do it. 2 6s.
All right. All right. So that will hit a whole lot of them. Remember to add 2 extra damage for each 6 that you rolled. And what's your total damage?
21.
21. Okay. So okay. So normally when you're dealing with a mob, mobs have size categories, right?
Mhm.
Minor, typical, major. This is a major mob. Normal attacks can only remove 1 mob size at a time. Because you are making a radius attack, you can actually ignore that penalty, right? So you can kind of like chew through them because you're just hitting so many different targets. Now, I will say that you don't chew through all of them. There still is like 4 people standing, right? But with that said, as I mentioned before, you do have 2 actions on a turn. However, because you have kind of gone on this like a bullet storm shooting spree,
Mhm.
you need to either take a turn to reload or spend a willpower to reload for free.
When you say a turn, does that mean the entire 2 actions or just an action?
Yeah, so it'd be 1 action this turn, 1 action next turn.
Okay. I will spend the willpower to reload. Speed
All right.
reload.
Yeah, so 2 whip flicks later.
Click, click, click.
Yeah. So you burn a willpower, which means that you have an action left.
And you said there's 4 left?
Yeah, there's still 4 of them standing.
I will attempt to double tap one of them.
Okay. So go ahead and roll your double tap. Again, take a +5 because you're at medium range.
Okay. Dice is that. There it is, 4. 61 with 1 6.
All right. Well, again, that easily will strike them. They are slow moving, zombie like in nature.
Again, it's
And then
21 damage.
next. What's that?
Again, it's 21 damage. Oddly enough.
What's the double tap? Oh, yep, I see that.
Oh, you
Okay.
have it as 1919. Does that mean it hits twice?
Yeah, because you double tap.
Okay, so then it's 21-21.
The plus only applies to one of them.
Okay,
right?
the first one.
Yeah. Technically, you can decide, but I don't think it matters in this scene. All right, but yeah, so that is enough to remove the final 4 jacklings from any threatening or any ability to threaten.
But I do hope some of them are just unconscious and not dead. But I suppose we'll see. break out of whatever this goo is and
Yeah,
begin
so
healing up. And I'll start looking at these things to see if any of them are still alive.
yeah. So to answer the question, you breaking free, not a problem, right? It's just a matter of taking the time to bust loose. Um, but yeah, once you have cleared yourself from the pumpkin spiced bile, you can go and take a look at them. Um, and I'm gonna leave the question up to the group, right? Because narratively, this is something that um, could go either way, right?
Yes, indeed. I mean, you've been using fire and bullets and lightning, and I'm not sure if you meant to kill them or not.
So,
I
so
would have meant
Morgan's
to
fire doesn't
knock
kill
him
unless
down
she
and break
wants it
bones, but
to.
not kill him. But it's up to you.
The
Morgan's
unfortunateness
fire
is
doesn't kill unless she wants it to. So the ones that she attacked are just unconscious.
the unfortunateness is with Lexi. It's heavy caliber guns and with lightning bolts. So yeah, they're probably dead.
well, so just to take a step back out of the narrative, right? We can agree on the tone because these are supernaturally enhanced beings, right?
Okay.
Right. Bullets don't necessarily kill them because they have, supernatural abilities. The question is, do we want that level of lethality in our game? Right. Because that becomes much more important later on when you guys start taking damage too.
Right.
Right. But if we assume that they survive, I'm perfectly okay with that because again, within the narrative, they are supernaturally enhanced, right? So they can live through things like that. I just want to make sure that all of us as players and as a group are on the same page.
Okay. Yeah. I'm good with that.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So what you find is that um, while hunks of the pumpkin dermis may be knocked free, and they are injured. It does seem like um, none of them are well. The light has not gone out of their eyes. They don't exactly have noses anymore. Um, and so saying that they're still breathing is a different subject, right? Um, but like if you open up their eyes, you can still see them glowing with that supernatural light.
So, dearie, were these humans at one point before this happened? They's wearing clothes.
Airless is going to check that out.
Yeah, so just if you rummage through their pockets and stuff, you'll find like wallets and IDs, that sort of thing, right? Um, I will cut back to the cops saying no one's come back out of the forest.
So you said that their blood smelled sweet.
It did, like taffy.
Hmm.
It's like it ain't blood proper anymore. I suppose there could be some kind of curse on them that needs must be broken, but I ain't really caring about that sort of thing.
I'm
Yeah,
gonna.
Airless is gonna figure out what she can about the nature of this. She can sense magic. I figure that she can probably, if this is a curse, she can probably get some details on it.
Yeah, so let's do that. Give me a wisdom and occult roll. All right, so your wisdom is 12, your occult is 12, and then I believe as a witch speaker, your power actually supports your occult. So you're rolling
Yeah.
36 and 4 dice.
It supports wisdom, not
I'm sorry,
occult.
yeah, sports wisdom is what I meant to say. I apologize there.
Yeah, so that's 24, and the support is another 12?
Yeah,
Can,
so you're rolling 36, and you got 4 dice instead of 3.
can I use wisdom and history to help her on this roll? Because I heard a bunch of stories of all kinds of things over the years. Maybe I know something similar that happened before at some point.
Uh, you can use your education as a support. So go ahead and like essentially like this would be the example of like you're talking about it as Morgan is examining them, and that's going to just impart a +9 to her roll.
So 36 plus 4d6 plus 9,
Yes.
59.
With a
Okay.
6.
With a 6.
Yeah.
All right. So when we're doing like regular rolls like this, the 6 essentially gives you an extra degree of success.
That's cool.
So through your witch sight, as you're examining them, you can see that there are essentially like tendrils or some kind of connection that links them to a greater presence, almost like uh strands of silk in a spider web. And if you could somehow isolate them from that spiritual connection, it might undo this transformation.
They've been enthralled or something. Can see the connection, but I don't know where it goes yet.
Well,
Oh, you
my
know
aura
it.
can sometimes have a corrosive effect on this sort of thing, but I would need to be able to see these threads before I could do anything. And I ain't sure it would work.
Can you point out where the threads are?
Airless basically like traces a line in the air with her fingers.
I'm going to take Mjolnir and kind of just brush it across that area. See if it
So
catches
this is
the.
kind of like a psychic connection,
Mhm.
right? And just to let you know, like it would take an extended. It's not like I snipped the cord and cured. It's like I snipped the cord and the healing can begin, right? It's going to take an extended isolation from this presence.
Let's try to trace the cords back to their source.
That
And
sounds reasonable to me.
to answer the like I know you said you don't know where it goes, but you can definitely see that it leads you deeper into the forest.
Mm-hmm.
I hope somebody packed a picnic basket. Let's go.
All right.
Hey, at least
Before
I
we
didn't try what I was
leave,
planning on trying.
can I take a quick look at these people's IDs and see if I recognize any of these folks as undesirables?
Um
I may
so
have a candidate for the dinner tonight.
give me a wisdom and street smarts roll.
Sorry, hey,
Wisdom and street
say
smarts.
again.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, this is essentially like you're trying to spot like are any of these people known criminals?
Yes.
Hey, this guy was on the news just the other day.
Didn't look like this back then, but
Can I
that's
use
Mickey
lucked
Two
into a
Knuckles.
clue instead of street smarts?
What's that?
Can I use lucked into a clue instead of street smarts?
Yeah, we can do that.
All right. So that is 28.
Okay. Yeah. So, well, like people's wallets and IDs aren't as incriminating or as indicative of um criminality as you're not an expert in the field.
No, I may have heard something on the news at some point about one of these folks, but other than that, there might be other things about them that make me think they as carrying illicit goods, something like that.
what it is that you notice is that um you one of them has a carving on their arm, much like a pumpkin. You would carve a pumpkin. One of their arms is carved, and you recognize it as a gang tattoo, right? Um, like it's a small gang, um, um, called the Deadheads, who uh, have a bad reputation for selling illicit substances, right? And you find in like one of their jacket pockets like a
I sniff them.
What's that?
I start sniffing around to see if I can find actual evidence of stuff they've been selling recently, just to make sure that I've got the right mark.
Yeah. So what you find inside their like inside jacket pocket is essentially a rolled up bindle um of small bones.
Like children-sized bones?
More like hand-sized bones. Like
Mm-hmm.
or based on the girth, maybe like chicken legs.
I think maybe I'll be keeping this one aside for a little later.
All right.
So
Yeah.
I'll drag him off behind a bush. We'll keep him there for a while until later.
Should probably tie up the others so that they can't get themselves in more trouble. We can
So
come
I
back
think
for them later.
for your willpower, you're gonna have to keep this guy with you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Because otherwise, even if you tie him up, he might get away, right? Um, but as long as you're willing to keep him with you and deal with the consequences and complications of that, go ahead and take a willpower.
Sure.
Why don't you ask cousin Jeb to pick him up?
Oh, unfortunately, cousin Jeb can't get back into the forest right now.
Mm.
As I mentioned, the candy coated canopy was coming down.
Well, looks like our escape route's been cut off.
Well, I'm sure we could break out if we had to. But we got business here first.
To the center of the spider web.
Yeah, so you push back, like you pull people off to the side, secure them, right, and begin deeper into the trail, right. And then what you'll notice is probably after a solid half an hour, 45 minutes of heading deeper into the gloom, the lights, like the night lights that they tend to have in public parks, that sort of thing, none of them are working well. Probably only 1 in 3 is working, and that is kind of flickering on and off. But beyond that, you catch somebody, um kind of like you see each other at the same time, as they stay hyper vigilant, um and you can see them like holding their side in one hand and a gun in the other, and he kind of he's like kind of like this position, like leaned against a tree, and he's like, "Stay right there. Who are you people? Are you people?"
One secondary. So she switches back. She leaves the tied up dude ganger on the ground for the moment. What is it you're doing here? It's the 13-year-old Wednesday Adams walks up to him.
All right, so
Preteen witch with a ball of fire in her hand, 5 feet back.
The only one that looks normal, but holding 2 guns.
yeah. Well, he's got a gun too.
Yeah.
Don't you point that thing at us now. That wouldn't be mannerly.
He says, "Stay right there. I'm a detective with the Central City PD."
Well, howdy, detective. What can we do for you?
We came in here looking for the missing people. I'm assuming you're one of them.
He sighs and he's like, I guess by this point I am. And he kind of like rolls his hand back. You can see that that distinctive strawberry jam on his hand, and then he goes back to holding his side.
This point, Morgan's gonna come up and kneel next to him and start pulling through her kit for her medical supplies because she carries some stuff.
Okay.
I mean, I could close that out for you, but I don't think you like how I do it. So I'll let Emily do it. But
Okay.
You are
Morgan.
Emily.
I'll let Morgan do it.
So you have two things that you can do here.
Home
right?
remedies medical
Yeah.
as 12.
Right. So one, you can just heal him for 2 for free without any kind of roll. But 2, you can try and heal him with a roll. It would be your intelligence plus your medical.
My
And
medical is good and my intelligence is also good, so I'll do that. That's 22 plus 3d6?
Yep. And then if you wanted to, you could probably put a little extra oomph on it, spend a willpower, add in your witch speaker. That'll give you a 4th die and a plus 12.
But then you'd be spending willpower on that.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's the trade-off. Right?
I'm confident in this without spending willpower. 33.
Okay. All right. So you can, when you look at it, you realize that this is what would have happened had the Jacklings managed to get close to you. Right? It looks like one of them swiped at his side and took a hunk out. It is way worse than you realized. Right? So I will let you heal him that 2 automatically, but you don't actually get any additional healing there. Like you can essentially you patch him up, make like a poultice and stop the bleeding. But this guy is severely, or he was severely hurt. If you're being honest with yourself, you're kind of impressed that this guy is still cognizant enough to try and put up any kind of fight. What's that?
Defend himself?
Defend himself?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, that'll stop the bleeding, but you still need a medic, so stay put.
Do you think he should watch over them others?
He says, "Look, you patched me up. I'm a cop. I can help you."
All
Be
right.
frank, officer. I'm impressed that you're still conscious. Stay put. We can handle this.
Well, what did he have in mind by way of help? I don't think he should be engaging in further ruckus with these folks, but maybe he might have some information to share.
So give me and anyone can do this. Give me an expression and negotiation roll. Does anyone actually have negotiation?
I don't have either of those things. Well, I
Everyone
mean,
has
I have
expression.
like 5 expression. That's not good for much.
What is Lexi's expression?
7.
-7.
5.
5, yeah.
Okay, I guess I'm doing it.
Yeah. So yeah, give me
I
that.
do
That's
not
72
have.
dice.
I
Oh, go-
don't have negotiation. I
uh-huh.
have intimidation.
Oh, that I got.
Well, this is like trying to get information out of him because he's kind of out of it, right? And so he might not, like, in a normal situation, he could probably share like some good info with you, but this is more like facilitating the conversation and making him realize he should be talking to you about stuff.
Okay. Um,
So, like, intimidation
forensics
is
would not
not
apply.
sorry.
I got survival. Maybe that helped, but I don't think so.
I don't think any of my talents will help, so it would just be expression.
Yeah.
I got bargain finder. I don't think that'll help either.
I can tell you where to get the good
Well,
deals. I don't know what's going on here.
I've got the best expression, so 7 plus, and this would be 2.
2d6, yeah. And then if you want to, you can explode it with a willpower.
And willpower doubles the dice, yeah?
Yep. So you just put an asterisk 2 at the end.
Yeah, if you're
Yeah,
gonna
I'll
spend
spend a
I wouldn't.
willpower.
The other thing is, like, we can get kind of creative. You can spend a willpower just to add in your witch sight.
Probably better.
Put a little charm on it instead, right? So that'll give you a plus 12 and an extra die.
Okay, yeah, I'll do that.
Is there anything that any of us can do to assist, since we're all kind of doing this together?
Let's take a look at what other people's talents are here. Um,
So I could look around for something that would give him some comfort.
yeah, if you're like trying to get him set up so that he can, like, convalesce in the forest, I'll let you add your domestic. So that's a plus 5.
Domestic or manual labor or scrounging or survival.
I've got
Does it have to
religion.
be
I can tell
domestic?
him where his soul's going to go if he actually kicks the bucket.
Well, if you want to spend a willpower, I'll let you add your scrounging, because that's way outside of what we're doing. But we will let you find something useful that will assist. Otherwise, yeah, I'll give you the domestic for free.
All right, well, just do the domestic for now.
Yeah, so that's an extra plus 5.
So that's 5?
Yeah.
Okay. No phone. 34.
Excellent. Okay,
Any 6s?
doesn't look like it. All
Okay.
right. So he says he's noticed some like burst cocoons or maybe egg sacs. He's not sure what. During the scuffle with one of the jacklings, his lighter went off because he had been using it as a light, and that's what scared them off and gave him a chance to get away.
When you said ladder went off, what did you mean? It exploded, or it?
Yeah, like it hit his hand, right, and that, like, triggered the, like he'd been holding lighter in one hand, and the fire when it like flared, like seemed to scare the Jacqueline.
So they
Right?
don't like fire, which we kind of knew already.
Yeah. Um, but the other thing is that he is seeing these like cocoons or egg sacs.
They
Uh,
seems to be
Probably what
coming out
cursed
of them
those
egg
folk to begin
sacs.
with.
if you explain what you've been seeing, he'd probably agree with that assessment. Right? Like that's definitely like somehow they were transformed inside of that. He doesn't know exactly how, but somehow.
You seen any of those egg sacs near here?
Yeah. If you go up the pathway, you'll see them, right? Just off the side, um, where the ground recesses. Look in the treetops.
Okay, I think we can manage that.
Morgan, do you still see those strands?
We've been following them, so I presume Morgan's been keeping that up.
Yes.
Are they heading in the same direction as our detective friend here is talking about?
Oh, I'm certain they are.
Okay.
But now we have a more precise description of where the cocoons are. The threads might be going slightly different off to the side, since they presumably lead to the being that's making the cocoons, not the cocoons themselves. They might not be in exactly the same place.
I would like to point out it is 10 p.m. Do we want to keep going? Are we close to an end?
Yeah, so I was actually going to say, why don't we take a quick break? Um, because this is a good stopping point, and then we'll come back up for the well, if I say let's take a quick break and reconvene in 10 if we can.
Is
Okay,
everybody okay with that?
sure.
Okay, cool. Everybody, we'll be back in 10 minutes.
All right.
So I should have asked this. How late do you normally go on these weekly APs?
I believe Kit usually likes to stop around between 10 and 11, more frequently closer to 10 than 11, but it's just that he generally gets tired around that time. I
Okay.
think 11 is probably okay for at least for me. I don't know about you, Rezo.
I'm fine. I'm just
I'll get
hungry.
a little bit less sleep, but it's a short day tomorrow anyway.
Okay. Yeah.
No
It's just
labs or anything.
all right, but as long as we're good within the next hour, everything should be okay.
Yeah.
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 You're not showing up, by the way.
Yeah,
I had my
there
camera,
you go. You're not invisible anymore.
yeah, I had my camera closed because we kicked this off right at the time I normally eat dinner,
Mm.
and so I was trying to just like power down a snack.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Eat on screen. I hear
Anyways.
that raises ratings. People for some reason love watching other people eat. I don't know why.
Really? That's surprising to me.
It's a thing.
I've heard of this thing, but I don't think I'm like the target of like what people want to see eating.
They watch anybody. They would
Well,
probably watch me eat.
yeah. I know that for me, especially if I haven't eaten recently, but even to some degree if I have, I am not a fan of hearing other people eating.
Yeah, I
It
can't
bugs
stand
me.
hearing it now. Oh, Bardic Bird just joined us.
Are we back on?
Yeah, I never turned it off.
Oh, well, all right then.
Well, I guess we can keep going then.
Yeah.
All right, then we should jump back in. I thought we were still off the air.
No, we just all just walked away and left it run.
Well, I'm very interested in finding out if these cocoons have any children, any youngins in them, because I sure wouldn't want to have them suffer the same fate.
We should see if we can disrupt the process somehow.
So I'm keen on picking up this fella here that I'm gonna keep with me here, and heading on off with all due speed down towards where them cocoons are supposed to be.
All right. So yes, the as you get closer to the heart of the forest, the first cocoons you see have been opened. Um, and it does look like they've been opened from the inside. They also do look like they are people-sized.
I keep looking for the ones that ain't open yet. And I look up in the trees to see if there's any up there either.
Yeah, so that is where you see them, right? It's where the cotton candy webbing had been the most severe. And as you reach the center of the park, this is where you find Jack has made a nest for himself. The area is filled with these pink webs. And you can see unburst cocoons throughout the webbing. There are some that are opened, right? But there are others that are still clearly holding bodies.
Any of them wiggling?
No. Um, uh, yeah, no, they are. It doesn't look like anyone's struggling in there. Um, if anyone wants to, they can make a wisdom plus a cult roll at this point.
I'll do that.
Okay.
So 24, 3d6.
36 and 46 because your witch side adds to this.
Sorry, could you repeat?
Because your witch side adds to this, you're actually at 36 and 4 dice. This is definitively your well house.
45.
Excellent. So there is a familiarity about the shape of the web. And if you pictured someone drawing a summoning circle on the ground, right? And then turned that into a three-dimensional object. That is what you're looking at.
Huh. Interesting.
So I'm attempting to just start knocking these trees down, girlie. If you can tell me which ones have the youngins in them that need rescuing, or if these all need to come down. I don't want to let out folks that aren't ready to come out, but if they's all ready to come out, I can start knocking them trees down.
All right.
Airless starts explaining what she's discovered.
Does it look like this magic is going on right now, or has it already happened? Do you know, Morgan?
So it seems like there is a mystic current here. And as if something is roiling underneath the surface. If you're in a simmering soft spot of magic. I don't know why descriptions are so food related, but I'm sticking with them.
It's caramelization.
Well, if there's a flow to this, maybe we should start at the place where the flow is least affected the cocoons and move towards the place where the flow is most affected the cocoons.
We can try that.
Airless is also going to see if she can spot any spirits that might have been caught up in this. Because normally there will be spirits everywhere. But sometimes places like this, it'll get their attention. Be they spirits of the dead, spirits of the land, what have you.
Yeah. So one thing I will say, the people in the cocoons, one, your spirit sight tells you know they're alive, right? Two, you can tell that their spirits are being reshaped by whatever's happening. It's not just a physical transformation, right? I'm just going to make this roll over here for no reason whatsoever.
Mm-hmm.
You've already made a roll over there for.
Oh, that's very true. I'm going to be making another one.
Oh, okay.
Based on the results of the first one. Well, I suppose everyone go ahead and give me a sense and perception roll if you could, or in the case of our fortunate son or fortunate daughter, as it were, fortune and perception. Sorry, the song is Fortunate Son. But
Somebody rolled a nice big number.
yeah.
I do not have perception. Would I be able to use cryptography to see patterns in what's going on?
Uh, no, this is literally spotting something hidden.
Okay. Then guess it's just the sense and 2d6.
Yes.
I have a 6 and a total of 30.
Okay. All right. So let me share with the thing that stings Emily in the back. If everyone wants to check out the chat there, you can see a picture of our good friend Jack, who has slipped from the trees as Emily began exploring the cocoons.
Well, I'll just knock a tree down on top of them.
So this is he was able to get the drop on you.
Oh, damn.
Yep.
Okay. And then so we're going to use your surprise defense, your werepire surprise defense, right?
Yes.
So his stinger will do 12 damage.
All right, minus my armor, I assume.
Yes, minus your armor. And it injects you with a paralytic. So let's go ahead. Everyone give me initiative rolls.
Okay. What does the paralytic affect initiative?
No.
Okay.
It'll just affect your attempt to break out.
I'm on this one.
Is my ward from earlier still up?
Yes.
Okay.
$36.
33, but I have a 6.
Excellent. Get a willpower for that.
Oh, I do? Sweet.
Yep. That's the perk of rolling 6s on initiative. All right.
I mean, the stinger on Jack looked like it was large enough to go through Emily and out the other side. Kind of like a Frodo Baggins
it could
kind of
have.
moment.
But it won't stay that way. I've taken a lot worse in my time. I can tell you.
And also, if it stabs all the way through, it can't deliver the venom.
It's
That
debatable.
is true.
Okay. Oh, that's funny. We went from Jack Links to Jack, but it's the exact same order. But yes, let me introduce you to Spider Jack. Morgan, you can take the first action here.
Okay.
Now, has he already gone, or was that an extra round that he got?
That was like his surprise, and
Okay.
that kicks off the turn. Or kicks off the action. Let's see. We
All
have
right. So find the opening would require me to see more of what this guy does before I could really use it, right?
Well, you know
No.
he's vulnerable to fire, most likely.
So find the opening is you make that roll, and if you succeed, you find a weak point somewhere on his pumpkin carapace,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's not actually an attack, it's more like an evaluation.
But you do get 2 actions, so
Okay.
you can do that and still attack.
Yeah.
What is the range to everybody right now? Obviously, he's in melee with me.
All right, so he's in close range to you, and then he is at short range to everybody else.
And can I stack forensics onto find the opening?
If you notice,
Independent of the fact in the offense notes here. The
Yeah.
once per session.
so you'll see it's already in there.
So yes,
Okay.
that is a free once per session thing and a willpower to use it more than once.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, I will find the opening.
Okay.
So that is 21 4 dice.
Yes.
$31.
Okay. So the thing is, you've never fought a giant pumpkin spider before, and like you would think that his mouth is the open, like, well, not his mouth, but like the big open crevice that looks like a jack-o'-lantern in the center of his chest might be the opening. But at the same time, it looks like a void into like a burning sun. And so, is it though? I think you've spent an action to worry yourself, because you're not finding an opening, but you have another action.
Well, not knowing what I'm doing is what makes it fun half the time. So, I'm just going to layer occult onto my witch fire,
Okay.
and I am going to lob a fireball into that opening.
Okay. All right. So that doesn't change your attack roll, but that does give you a bonus on damage because this is very much a supernatural creature.
Yeah. So 24, 3 dice. And then I will do more damage if I hit.
Yes.
There's the certain dice.
And remember, if you want to explode dice or add another attribute, you can spend a willpower.
That's correct.
Spend a will to double it.
Okay.
50.
All right. So that will hit Jack. And how much damage does that do?
Normal is 10, occult adds 8, so 18.
All right.
I'm doing a big fireball.
Did you get any 6s?
Yes, she got one.
Then
that's
that adds
an
another
extra
2.
So I did.
That's 20.
All right. So yeah, your fire seems to like his body seems to react like pumpkin to your fire. But it's like the two of you are playing on a different level, right? Because whatever Jack is made out of, well, rather, to give you the better perspective, you know that if you had used this fire on a normal pumpkin, there would be no pumpkin left, right? Whereas this is more like what you would expect, like, someone like, runs a pumpkin across a bonfire, right? Like it's clearly damaged, but Jack seems to be made of very sturdy stuff, whatever he is.
But you did do a bunch of damage to him.
Yes. Harm was inflicted. Jack is simply sturdier than such. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Now, with Emily
I'm right
paralyzed.
here, bucko. Let's throw down.
So yes, with Emily paralyzed, Jack is going to take his next action, and he is going to spend his first action to skitter up and across his webbings, in up and through the trees, to try and close ranks with whoever is closest. That is not already paralyzed.
I'm not going to stay paralyzed very long, kiddo.
Well, Jack doesn't know that. So
I'm
that
trying
will,
to tell you.
that will be Lexi, and he will descend upon you.
Normally, this is where I'd be jumping in to do something about that.
Now there are noises coming out of both of Jack's mouth, right? I'm going to make my attack roll, and then I'm going to ask you guys for a roll to see if any of you can understand what Jack is saying.
Okay.
What's that?
I said interesting. Okay.
Oh, I messed that up. I did not do that right.
It's supposed to be a plus.
Yes. There we go. All right. So I'm fairly confident he's going to hit you.
Unless there's something I can do, which I'm looking. I don't think so.
Your normal defense is 31, right? You can spend a willpower to add your climbing. That would bring you up to a 40, and then burn one of your actions to roll 4 dice, and you need to roll a 14 or higher.
Yeah, I'll do that. You said burn a willpower?
Yeah. Actually, no. You can add your perception because you haven't done that yet, right? So you can add that for free. That's a +9. That'll bring you up to 40.
Okay.
You can spend another willpower to get your climbing in there. That'll bring you up to 49, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you would roll your dice. But at that point, you don't even have to roll because you know you're going to roll higher than a 4.
Okay.
So, right. So if you spend a willpower, burn your climbing and your perception, you can avoid the attack.
All right, I will do that.
All right. Oh, by the way, now that we're actually in an action scene and people are trying to move quickly, any attempts to move between range increments, there would be a -10 penalty. Lexi, because you're acrobatic, you ignore 9 points of that, right?
Okay.
But that's if you want to move range increments.
All right.
Okay, so with that said, there is a question of what did Jack just say? Right?
What do I need to roll?
So anyone can make a mental plus concentration roll to try and understand his words.
I ain't doing that.
I will tell you
I
up
should be
front,
good at that.
this could be bad, but you can try and understand him.
I'll do it.
Okay. All right.
I've got good mental defense. So 10 for mental, plus 7 for concentration, plus 3d6.
Yeah. And then
I ain't gonna bother.
if you want
Whatever
to,
it is, it ain't worth my time. I'm just gonna break out of this here paralysis that he's tried to inflict on me and start rescuing some children by dropping their trees on Jack.
all right. So I'm going to say that you can add your contact familiar in for free.
Okay, let me grab the number from that.
It's a 12.
That's 12.
Now, because this is another talent, you don't get another dice. You're still rolling 3 dice.
Should be 29 plus 3d6.
Unless you want to burn a willpower to add your magic in to run translation magic or clarification magic while you're doing it.
That is true.
And then you would get an extra die.
I'm running low on willpower at the moment, so I'll save it for now.
Fair enough.
37.
37 with a 6.
Yeah, it's important to keep track of your sixes in this game.
Yeah.
Okay. So, first, you'll take 6 psychic damage just from trying to comprehend the words.
Okay,
Minus
well,
your what's
my
that?
mental ward defense has an armor of 5, so I only take 1 damage.
Correct. But what you can make out, first of all, your familiar will tell you that this is elder speech. The language that existed before creation. And what you're able to make out is the words, this, not my land, need I, souls, return harm, and home. I will let you do with that as you will.
It wants to go home.
So, Lexi, it's your turn. You've spent one of your actions. You have 1 action left.
I'm going to use secondary attack. Unless I need to use my favorite attack first.
Let's take a look here. Perfect range means that you need to back up to medium range first, right?
Okay.
You've only got 1 action left, so you're better off double tapping.
All right, double tap it is.
Okay.
I'm going to spend a willpower to hit it. Make sure I. Let's see, 4 dice. One 6 and a 76.
All right, so that will definitively hit, and you get an extra 2 damage. So what's the total damage?
I'm going to take the occult extra damage as well, which is another
Okay.
+2, so that's +4. And that will be 23, 23.
23, 21.
23, 21.
Yeah.
Sorry, the system's new to me.
No problem. Yeah, the crit damage only applies once, is what it comes down to.
Okay.
All right, so and you didn't roll any 1, so you didn't run out of ammo doing that, or you didn't run through all of your ammo doing that. But you definitely realize that lightning is more effective than bullets. But you're swapping between them, trying to gain purchase on Jack here,
Mm-hmm.
right? And then that will bring us over to Emily. Sorry,
Emily.
yes, Emily. Yes, okay.
All right.
And I do want to make sure that everyone heard what Morgan said.
That it's trying to get home.
Yes. Okay. All right. So Emily, first things first, we need to get you free of the paralytic.
My regeneration should be able to take care of that.
Well, you're going to have to fight it off.
Yes, that's what I mean.
Yeah. So you're going to make a Constitution plus Fitness roll. All right. Now, because of the nature of your abilities, I do believe you get to add in your willpower to this roll.
All right. So fitness is what? I should have had something like that, right?
That would be a talent. Doesn't look like you have it.
Okay.
I tend to go in alphabetical order. I don't see it. Yeah. So you're going to roll 27 and 3 dice.
Okay. Can I use survival instead?
Well, if you spend a willpower, I'll let you add survival.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And that'll give you a 4th die as well.
Yeah,
Because you've dealt with snake venom before.
I've dealt with all kinds of venoms. Yes. So that's sorry, what did you say again for the
Uh,
total?
okay, so it's your Constitution plus
Yeah,
your Werefighter,
15.
so that's 27, and then
27 plus 9 is 36
and 4
plus
dice.
4 dice. I mean, I could just double the dice instead. I don't know if that's any better.
Well, I
Probably,
so I
about the
think
same.
that in this scenario, like without getting too mathy, you're probably better off doing it this way.
Yeah, 50.
Excellent. All right, so you shrug off the paralytic. We might even have this scene where it seeps back out of the wound.
Yep. Well, the wound is fizzing and bubbling as all the poison gets burnt away, and then it starts knitting itself back together again.
You have one action left, and
All right. Well, I'm gonna do what I said I was gonna do. I'm gonna drop a tree on the bugger.
okay. All right, so go ahead and give me a brawn roll. Let's uproot a tree.
Okay. So brawn plus strength and plus wear power.
Uh, weird. So, I was running shy on build points to get everything you wanted. So wear power does not add to your strength, only your Constitution.
Ah, okay. Well, okay. Constitution plus brawn is the same.
Yeah.
So we
So
use
yeah,
that
Constitution
instead.
and brawn.
Constitution plus brawn plus wear power.
Now, if you want to burn your tools for that hidden weapon, I'll let you add in your wear power for free.
Oh, would I need to use a willpower for that normally? Sure, we'll do it that way.
Yeah.
I haven't used it yet, so that's 12 and 15 is 27 and 12. 27 and 12 is 39 and 46.
All right. So you're able to uproot a tree. You don't have to roll for that part, right? You got there, right?
All right.
But go ahead, make your attack roll. It's going to be at a -15 because you're effectively going to have to lob the tree, and improvised weapons are a normal -5.
But I remember that I have that bonus for using improvised weapons because I got scrounging.
Yeah, that's a flat +3 to damage.
Okay.
So it hurts more when you use improvised weapons.
So I'm using my default attack roll.
Yep, you just use your default attack roll at a -15.
Okay. And I will go ahead and use a willpower.
Okay.
So that is stay where I put you. 36 minus 15 is 21 plus 46 times 2. I would like to use that provoke to make him.
You need to get in the close range for him to provoke.
Oh, he's not next to me right now. Okay.
Yeah, he remember he skidded around the webs and
well, I got a 57 with 2 6s and they're doubled.
All right. So that will hit. When you double the die roll, it doesn't mean like the 6 counts twice though, right?
Yeah, but it's still 2 6s.
Yeah, still a +4. Okay. So for using
and the plus
tree,
from the improvised weapon.
Yep. Give me 1 second.
Normal damage is 10 with a.
Yeah, so +3 for improvised weapon, and then plus another 3 because you're good at using improvised weapons. So +6, 8, 10, so 20 damage.
Yeah. And I'm hoping that some of those cocoons are going to get knocked free and break open and let some of them people out.
Okay.
Assuming they aren't changed yet.
Well, we'll see. I was hoping this is near the beginning part of the ritual for these particular folks, so they ain't too transformed yet.
All right. So you burst the belly of Jack open with that tree branch, or with that tree.
The
Sorry, not
tree,
branch.
the log,
Yeah, the
Yes.
whole tree.
that whole tree.
The whole tree. Yes. And it's kind of like staggering. What is Morgan doing?
Morgan, upon the realization that this thing wants to go home and the fact that this whole place is set up like a 3D summoning circle, she is zipping over to that circle and seeing if she can reverse engineer it to send this thing back where it came from.
Okay. Give me, well, no, you're just going to succeed on that because you're at 36 and 4 dice. So, yeah, no, you realize that if you can talk to Jack, you can send him home, right? You need to get him into the circle, right? So if you're willing to try and talk to him, you can potentially get him to comply. But to
Can
do
I
that,
ask
you're
my
going to have to try.
familiar?
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, to do that, you're going to have to attempt to speak Elder Speech.
Okay, yeah, I was gonna ask if I can get my familiar to help give me the words. Because I haven't used contact familiar as a boon yet.
Yeah, so spend a willpower, right? And then you roll your expression, familiar, and concentration.
Okay, so that expression is here. It's a 7. Familiar is 12 and concentration is 7. So that's 14 plus 12 is 26. And how
Plus-
many
Okay.
dice?
That'd be 3 dice.
Okay, 26 plus 3. D6. I almost
And
just typed
can
3.
any of us help her on that? Like I can say, or else, pretty good.
But can you say it in the language that existed before creation?
Can I say it in, or else you're dead because I'm gonna eat you?
I'm gonna eat you, fool.
I mean, you did just throw a tree at him.
I'm speaking a language of primal threat here.
I don't think he recognizes that language.
Hmm. Can Mjolnir or Mistletoe speak that language?
Oh, interesting.
Maybe you want to get Hugin and Mugen to speak that language.
So when you say that, do you mean he's intimidated by guns, or do you say that there is actual like spiritual entities bound to your guns that would allow Jack to understand you?
That one. The original premise between the weapons where they were made before Midgard was discovered.
Okay. So if you want to spend a willpower, I'll let you like tap into that. Like maybe we can have a scene where you're like doing something with the guns to figure out, like to make that connection that you've never had with them before, and to assist your ally, and that'll give them a plus 12.
Okay. Willpower spent.
All right.
That's plus 12, you said?
That's a plus 12. I kind of picture Lexi putting the like resting her head against the slides, and words coming out of her mouth that she doesn't necessarily understand herself.
Being whispered in her ears by a pair of ravens, no doubt.
50 with a 6.
Excellent. So what is it that you're trying to say to Jack?
Honestly, Airless in this moment is probably just absolutely manic with glee. And she is just like shouting, "Come on, then!" That type of thing. You want to go home? I'll send ya.
All right. The familiar will help you to shape that statement so that it doesn't come off as a threat. Um, and with that, Jack will disengage from Lexi and drag himself back to the center of the nest that he's made. And if your teammates are compliant here and will assist, you are able to send Jack home.
Sure. I just
Running
want
my
him
fingers
to
through the
not
weeds
have
of this
all these
spell.
kids.
So everyone will take 12 psychic, or I'm sorry, 15 psychic damage, right? But that's okay, right?
It
Because
stings for about 8 rounds, and then it's done.
that is enough to rip a hole in the fabric of reality for Jack to slip back through. And he says something as he passes through the void. Which you're fairly confident is something to the effect of uh, uh, he never wanted to be here. But with Jack gone, the webbing within minutes becomes brittle as the canopy starts to break apart in a cotton candy dust around everyone. No one in the cocoons are dead, but some are in various states of transformation into jacklings. The kid who was like the kid that kind of kicked everything off is probably the least state of transmogrification. And he just kind of walks to the center of the circle and looks up to where the fissure in reality was, and then looks back down at the ground that's still smoking with the supernatural energies that were there, and he just says, kind of to
Wednesday
himself,
Adams is walking up to him.
"See you next year, Mr. Jack." And that is where we will end our session.
Right.
Wednesday Adams is back out with a knife, cutting through those cocoons and making sure people are safe. And once that's done, she's got a dinner date that she's got to attend.
So I will say that knowing that you need to isolate them, you just kind of have to come up with a means to do that. But once you do, the jacklings will come back to themselves at some point. The scars that they suffer never fully heal, or at least not within the next month or so. They may heal over time, but it was a transformation that left them quite different than a normal person.
They'll need therapy.
But yeah,
So
therapy
much
is probably in
therapy.
order for quite a few people. Sorry, what was that?
Oh, I just said so much therapy.
Yeah.
But also, Morgan can probably start deriving some uh sigils for them. Just be like, let's keep any energy out of your vicinity.
Yeah, like you can set up like wards around their homes or apartments to like protect him or like keep the link to Jack separate, and as long as they isolate for a month, that's what breaks the connection. So what did you guys think? Did you have a good time tonight?
I loved it.
Yeah, it was good.
I'd love to play some more Metahumans Rising, actually.
Well, this was as I said at the start of the session, this is the Adventures of Spider Jack, the Thrill Me edition. And I'm going to be releasing another Spider Jack adventure later this month as we get closer to Halloween.
Oh, very cool.
I don't know if it'll be next week or the week after that, but maybe there is a space for us to reconvene. We'll have to figure that out with everybody else,
Sure.
because I'm just here for
Temporarily, yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure what Fool's Moon is doing for actual Halloween. Sometimes they run Koromori Hill. But if there's no plans, maybe we can do an actual Halloween session.
We'll have to see.
I cannot commit to that. Actually, right now I have to definitively say no because Halloween's my anniversary.
Ah, well, it'd have to be another night then.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And I know you're quite busy as well.
Yeah, no. We 100% got married on Halloween.
That's cool.
I can respect it.
Hmm. If I ever get married again, that might be a good option. All right.
But
On
yeah,
that
I
note,
hope everyone had a good time. I hope because we kind of had a character creation conversation and didn't actually go through character creation. I hope the characters played the way you expected them. Right?
absolutely.
I do wish I'd had a chance with Munchkin to try and goad them into using their power attack, because
Mhm.
I was totally going to try and get you to shout that out during the session.
Yeah, I
I
was
can do
going
it now.
to use my provoke at some point, but never got the opportunity. And I was
Yeah.
going to use. I was considering seeing if there was going to be an opportunity to use the blood rage, but that never wound up happening either.
So the adventure is actually longer than what we had here, but knowing that it was a 3-hour session, I truncated some of the events.
Yes.
And that would have given you more opportunities to do that. And as far as like the blood racing goes, in the event with Spider Jack, um, one of the things that you probably notice is that Spider Jack has a pretty hefty defense. Your grapple is not that great, but you know who doesn't have a high grapple? Someone who's willing. Right. And we totally could have had that moment where someone was allows you to feed on them, but sadly we didn't get that action.
Airless would totally be down for that.
But anyway, I hope everyone has a great night. I hope our listeners enjoy this adventure, and thanks everybody for joining us.
All right.
Have a good night,
Before we sign out, where can
everyone.
people find people and stuff like that? We will start with Munchkin, because I think you went last time.
Sorry, what was that? What are we doing?
We'll just do outros. Where can people find everyone? And we'll start with Munchkin.
I'm really just here on the stream.
Oh, okay.
If you mean like things
Yeah,
like
yeah,
socials
we're
or
we're
whatever.
all here on the Fool's Moon stream, and we don't really do web presence other than that. So
Oh, okay.
On the other
I
hand, I
mean, I'm a
do.
university student.
yeah, Rezo might have an outro.
We actually just launched our website, disastercatgames.com. You can find our store there. We've got some really cute disaster kittens for sale as stickers and other merchandise. So you can check us out there. And we're always on social media, Facebook, Instagram, and Threads.
Very
Yeah,
cool.
and of course this is hosted by Fool's Moon, so all of their stuff applies as well.
Oh,
And I've been your GM on. Oh, that's a disaster cat.
yeah, this is Furball. He's the mastermind. That's one of our stickers for your car.
Oh, very nice, very nice.
Very cute.
I've been your GM. My name is TDF Silva. You can find Metahumans Rising physical copies. You can get them in the store if you ask for it, or at Studio 2. You can get digital copies at Drive-Thru or itch.io. And you can find us pretty much everywhere if you just search House Doc, DOK, not a C. We're Doc with a K for one reason. Anyway, thanks everybody, and everyone have a great rest of the evening, or whatever time of day you're listening to this.
Good night,
All
everybody.
right. Good
Bye,
night, folks.
everyone.